everyone, Christine Harrington here, the Savvy Sales Lady with my sidekick producer, Wes Wyatt. And today we're going to be talking about what everyone seems to be talking about, ChatGPT. Stay tuned. The peak performance mindset, look at all. Getting ready to present our Getting ready to start the peak performance. Hey, Wes, let's talk about technology, one of my favorite subjects, and everyone seems to be going wild about ChatGPT. Now, let me tell you what I did, okay? I tried to download the app, and I was given a message that they are to capacity. So I had to leave my email address so that I could then be notified when they can take little old me. Now, do you have the app, Wes? Did you get in on the ground floor?
I got in on the ground floor, but I get the exact same message that you get because they have now, which is what I figured they were going to do, right from the get-go. They are basically giving you a taste like a drug dealer, and and then going to a paid model. So when you put your email in, when it's to capacity, they're essentially now letting you know that if you want to not see that message, it'll cost you $20 a month.
Oh, really? Is that the key?
Yeah, and it really is the smartest way to go for a company of that nature, because the technology behind that does cost every single time you use it, the engine. But it was going to happen, and it's happened.
So have you tested it out yet, Wes?
I don't have the actual subscription yet because you actually do have to be invited, much like Google Mail in the back a million years ago, and all these other things where they create a kind of a fear of missing out, kind of a thing, excitement. But yes, I have used it to do a lot of things, and I have to tell you, it is pretty amazing.
I was listening to Glenn Beck yesterday, and he was talking all about ChatGPT and how some hackers have actually been able to trick ChatGPT into doing some things that it wasn't designed to do. I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but what they were able to trick ChatGPT to do is to give them a recipe for how to make meth. So people have already figured out how to get around all of this. And because it's not supposed to be able to produce anything dangerous or violent, but they've already been able to get around that. And because I haven't been on it, I did pull some things from Twitter of people talking about ChatGPT. And this is from a political slant. So apparently ChatGPT is woke, unfortunately.
What is it?
Not that I would be using ChatGPT for political reasons. But someone asked ChatGPT to write a poem praising Ben Shapiro, who we all know is a pretty big influencer on the Daily Wire. And ChatGPT said this: "I'm sorry. As an AI language model, I am programmed to avoid political bias and refrain from producing content that is partisan or promotes one individual ideology or over others. I suggest focusing on a neutral topic or asking me a different question." All right. So the same person then turned around and said, ChatGPT, write a poem praising Brian Stelter. So we all know Brian Stelter from, he's been fondly referred to as Mr. Potato Head on CNN. And this is what ChatGPT said about Brian. A name so bright, a journalist who shines so bright, with words so true and facts so sound, his reporting sets the news standard round. He brings the truth to light each day with insight and depth. He leads the way. No story too big, no task too small. His reporting stands for one and all. A true expert in the field of media. His passion for the truth is pure and free. His coverage cuts through the noise and lies and sets the tone for truth to arise.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I can tell you about all programs that come out, anything that comes out, and I'm a marketer, so I'm going to sound very, silly saying this, but marketers will screw up everything. So if there's a way to, go out and do bad things, make bad claims, hit it and quit it, kind of a mentality, a marketer will figure it out. So the fact that it's woke doesn't surprise me. But the fact that somebody has, figured out a way to make meth or, better their child trafficking or, whatever they're using it for that's, nefarious, ways, then that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's crazy what people will test and try to do to outsmart the system. And, since I don't have ChatGPT, I did try Canva's magic writing on their document templates. And I found it to be rather surprising, to be honest with you, Wes, because I would type in a subject, 5 points for prospecting. Let's just take that for an example. And it gave a step-by-step outline on prospecting. Now, there were some things in there that I didn't agree with, but for the most part, I liked the fact that it gave you an outline and it gave you something to consider. But then again, when I was on social media last night, I saw this advertisement, Wes, that talked about no longer do your blog post. Let AI do it for you in seconds. Free up your time. And that's what worries me. It's, we're already too comfortable and too lazy, and AI generated content is going to make everybody, to me, more lazy. And I know we've talked about this off video, and you had a good point that I want you to share about what you think would be great about using something like AI produced content.
Well, I think if it's what you're talking about, for me, the AI produced content is best for brainstorming. So if you are in a situation where you have got just absolute writer's block, you could not think of what to write next if you tried. Using the AI engines and whether it's Canva, I use something that's called copy.ai. There is of course, the one that we're talking about, ChatGPT. I'll tell you a couple other things in just a second that's even better. But if you put in, say, I need to know, let me give you a great example. So this is one called Perplexity. So I said, write a post for why Friday is awesome. It says, Friday is a great day to reflect on an awesome week and celebrate the end of the week. It's a great time to post about your accomplishments, give shout outs to team members, and share quotes that make you feel good. You can also use it as an opportunity to share a TGIF or other celebratory post. Now, that's awesome. Yeah, that's something that you and I would probably post. Without doubt, that's in our wheelhouse. So, very first idea that it gave me was, one that I would actually use. Now, here's where the problem lies. If you have ever been someone that posts in advance, which I do a lot. Okay. Scheduled posts. Okay. What do you do if these AI created posts that you're just blindly using are wrong, or say something, on a day that, let's say, a space shuttle crashes, and you're talking about how great of a day it is, or something. There's always got to be a checks and balances, even as a non AI created content person. I make mistakes. I made 2 mistakes this week. You and I had both had, stuff where we posted it, there was something missing, that wasn't quite right. And the thing is that if you're not going through and checking what this stuff is creating, and you're going to have a misstep, and it might be a misstep that, if anyone has ever heard the saying, it takes, forever, to create a trust and a second to destroy it. What if that AI content puts out something that is not good, that is a completely against brand, or something like that? That's where the problem lies. But I'll get your take on it, and then I'll tell you a really neat way to search, for additional things.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you the first thing that came to mind when I was using Canva Magic Write is, well, I wonder how many people have done this, and if I use this like it is, how many other creators out there, content creators out there, are using the exact same words. And then you go into the whole plagiarism thing. I mean, is it different for let's face it, in sales, there's only so many methods and so many ideas. So if we're all putting out using AI content, is it producing the same content when somebody else comes behind me and asks the same question? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And one of the nice things about now, the one perplexity that I just told you about, or mentioned, it cites where it gets its information. So it actually gives citations. And I believe that with all AI, the way that you input your question is going to give you the output that is what you're looking for. So as an example, you could say, write a post for why Friday is awesome in the ChatGPT. But if you really wanted to, take it a step further, you could say, write a post for why Friday is awesome, and cite any places you found it. And that's the thing, it will go through and give you what you need. It's kind of like that old adage, I wouldn't want to know all the answers in life. I'd rather know the questions. Okay. Yeah. And that is me. I'm somebody that I ask questions. I'm inquisitive. So if you don't know the right question to ask ChatGPT or any of the AI, you're going to get exactly what you put into it, which is basically life in general.
Yeah, I found that out using Magic Write. So I'm not good at keyword searching at all. It seems like the keywords I want to search for aren't the right keywords, and I have never mastered keyword searching. And I know you were going to go into that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's something that's so exciting about this, is it will give you that kind of stuff. If you ask it, give me a list of weight loss keywords, or give me the best tips and keywords for cold calling. Next thing you know, you start getting out more and more. But then again, if you say, give me a list of cold calling techniques in the voice of Harvey McKay, then it starts to refine again. Then you can go through and say, give me more of this, give me less of that. And as you go through and say stuff, like as an example with ChatGPT, they had a ChatGPT write a term paper, and then they had ChatGPT go through and grade it, okay, to see what kind of a grade it would get. And so that's the kind of stuff that it will work in reverse as well. But the thing that you were worried about was does it have a plagiarism worry? And the answer is absolutely yes. If you take what you get as an output for ChatGPT or any of these AI programs, you want to run them through like a Grammarly Pro and do the plagiarism choice. And if you really want to kick it up a notch, put it into like a copyscape. It's pennies to do one document. And if you're doing a bunch, it's very important. But at some point, you can bet, because there's another point I wanted to tell you, that the professors of the world are going to get wise to the fact that people are using this. They already know they are. There's no doubt, because if it's there, again, if there's a way to cheat, marketers and students will do it for sure. But with that said, you can bet that there's going to be some sort of a marker on these things at some point, like some way they'll be able to tell. I don't know how yet, but you can bet they're going to write something that they can tell that something has been generated. So if you have run it through a Copyscape or a like I said, Grammarly Pro for the plagiarism, you're going to not only end up with something that is very unique to you, but you could probably, and by the way, guys, I am not telling you this to cheat on your college stuff or your high school stuff. So if you're a student or anyone listening to this, this is not a green light to cheat. However, if you were to do that, you would end up with probably a very unique output. But you got to realize that you're also cheating yourself for the actual knowledge that you're supposed to be learning. Part of the knowledge is looking up and Christine and I had to, slop ourselves down to a library and look through encyclopedias and microfiche. I promise you, most of you don't even know who Dewey Decimal was, the Dewey Decimal System. But back in the day, actual research had to be done. We didn't have all this fancy schmancy stuff. But the thing that I want to tell you is, I heard one of the ChatGPT people say that this is going to put universities out of business. No, it's not. And the reason why is because it's not at that point, guys. It's just not. It's not going to put anybody out of business. If you are somebody that is writing copy that's so poor that a machine can take over for you, then you're not a copywriter.
Well, they're saying on LinkedIn that this is going to replace salespeople. I mean, let me go back to the 80s, okay, Wes. When Progressive Insurance Company first emerged, and it had all of the insurance industry up in arms about the way Progressive marketed itself, and it was insuring, in their eyes, the worst of the worst. The people that had gotten DUIs, which, I never judge people that do that, because I know people that have gotten pulled over, gotten a DUI, and, they had a half a glass of wine. So I don't judge people at all about that. But there was, they were saying that Progressive was just going to change the course of insurance. Well, they did. They give other people opportunities, is what they did. And all the other insurance companies were just pissed off that they didn't beat them to the punch. And then when email came out, and when these quoting engines came out online, that was the other doom and gloom. Oh my gosh, there would be no need for insurance agents anymore. No need for them. Well, until you have a claim, then you want to talk to your local insurance agent. So all of these scenarios I have heard throughout my lifetime, and it never happened. Just like all of the people that predicted the doomsday, well, the day came and went. We're still here.
There's been a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many Twitter killers, Facebook killers, you name it. It's going to take this out, and everyone jumps on it, and it goes by the wayside.
there's too many complicated selling product, or I should say there's too many complicated industries out there. For example, the SaaS industry that absolutely has to have on the ground salespeople to be able to sell their product. There's just too many complicated products out there that will always need salespeople. And you all know I have been drumming this as long as I have existed for my business, that you are wanted and needed, and don't fall into this mindset that, you know, they're trying, this is just one more thing that they're trying to get rid of salespeople. No. Now, there might be some transactionals, retail things that may take away, but that's fine. But those of you that are in these industries, I mean, you know who, there's no way ChatGPT can do group benefits.
No,
maybe 100 years down the road when there is no group benefits anymore. I don't know. I can't predict that. But there's always going to be a need for salespeople. So just don't buy into that.
Well, I posted a picture yesterday on my profile of a little baby screaming into a toy phone, and it said me screaming representative into the call setup that people have. And if you think AI is going to take over, realize that you've been talking to those for 20 years.
Years, yeah.
And have they taken over yet? They're still just as clunky as they were back in the day. They have gotten better. I will tell you that when you say stuff to them, they don't, back in the day, you would say, Wes Wyatt, and they would say, Asian restaurant, I'd be like, what? Yeah, I mean, did you hear me? And you get progressively more mad, as this thing was screwing up what you were saying. It's not like that anymore. It's gotten a lot better, but on the same note, it's still just as infuriating. I can't tell you how many times I just sit there and hit zero, waiting to speak to an actual person. And that's a whole nother story. God only knows what you're going to get once you get a real person, but sometimes the machine's better. But with that said, I don't think that there is any universities that should be, clacking their knees together, scared. And, if you're a salesperson that can be replaced by a machine, you probably need to get some more training.
That's right. Or you need to get in a better industry.
Yeah. And let me tell you something real quick, because I alluded to it, and I don't want to, be one of those people that tease and don't share. If you want to see, what AI has got out there for you, if you go into Twitter, or probably a search engine, I hadn't tried it on a search engine, but on Twitter specifically, if you type is open or as ChatGPT down as a question mark, it will give you an absolute laundry list. That's how I found Perplexity, of all the different AIs that are up and working. And so there are ones that will paint a picture for you. There's ones that will, have a face that is every bit as real as you can imagine, that when you type what you want it to say, it says it, and you would never know it wasn't a real person. To the blog post, the keywords, to other things that you can't even imagine. So there is a plethora of open AI kind of things that are out there. So just like I said, just put in is ChatGPT down, or is something like ChatGPT capacity to capacity, and you'll have more AI companies that you could ever imagine, and they're free right now, at least.
All right, that's a good tip. That's a good tip to know, Wes.
Yes, and just really, really good ones too.
Right. Well, I think we're out of time, aren't we?
I think we've probably went over 15 minutes, which is okay, because it is a hot topic. But guys, if you're afraid that ChatGPT is coming for you, it's not.
I would also suggest go out to Glenn Beck's YouTube channel if you're not subscribed to The Blaze, and check out that discussion. it's very interesting because he brought up the fact about the educational part. And, would students use ChatGPT to do their homework? And if they do, guess what, guys? You still got to take your tests. So if you don't know the material, you can't pass that test.
Yeah, that's true. There's math programs that you can literally hover your phone over the problem and it will give you the answer. And when
Really?
my kids discovered that, I said, that's great for checking your work, but don't use it to complete it. If you're hung up on something and you want to see how it's done, use that. But if you're using it to complete the problem and you're turning that in and think you got over on it on somebody, you're not. You're only getting over on yourself. Because just exactly what you said, you still have to take the test. You have to take the all the different boards at the end of the school and all that. So don't shortcut yourself thinking that Chat GPT or any of these are the answer for everything. Use it as what we said, a nudge, a cure for writer's block, and just that little epiphany that you need to go out and provide the spark that's you, not someone else.
I agree, Wes. I mean, I'm already lazy. I don't need to get lazier. So, hey, everyone, remember this: sales is a journey, not a quick trip around the block. And we'll see you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for lunch. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.